Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
All right, so we hear about a lot of mythology about lost cities, sunken islands, missing continents. Where are these places that we hear about in mythology? Do they really exist? Is it possible they really exist? They always depict them as an advanced civilization. But let's read. Now this is a crash course. We're going to get through it because we want to get to the point. We don't want to sit through redundant 3-hour lectures. We want to get straight to the bottom line. All right? So, let's read here. Let's see this island here. Okay. Excuse me. Dravidian traditions speak of a vast sunken island known as Rhodes that was located toward the southeast of India. Okay? Remember that, because all this is going to add up towards the end. So keep that in mind. Avalon. The legendary island of Avalon, a place of wonder, magic, peace, in Arthurian legend, draws the attention of readers in many works, particularly with the publication of Marion Zimmer Bradley's novel The Mist of Avalon in 1982. Still, it is difficult to place such a mythical, magical island within the historical context of the world. Is Avalon a real place that could be found on a map? If so, where can one find it? There have been many suggestions as to where the magical island might be in Arthurian legend. However, historical proof of Avalon existence is much harder to find. Alright? So keep that one there. According to author Churchward, Mumeria or Mu was about 5,000 miles long and 3,000 miles wide. We're talking about this lost continent, right? A beautiful tropical paradise like the Garden of Eden. The basic premise is that by studying various ancient texts, Churchward had discovered the existence of a lost long continent with an advanced civilization that 60,000 years ago had sunk below the Pacific Ocean after a cataclysmic earthquake. There were 64 million people who died in the sinking, and that it dated back over 50,000 years. The Hawaiian Islands and the Pacific Islands are remaining mountain peaks of the lost continent. Alright, so see, it says right here, advanced civilization. Let's move forward. Hyperborea was a fabulous realm of eternal spring located in the far north beyond the land of winter. Its people were a blessed, long-lived race free of war, hard toil, and ravages of old age and disease. Right? We're talking about lost continents and lost islands, alright? They supposedly sunken, or they didn't exist in history and they were just made up, but, let's move forward. Alright, we're talking about Plato here. Plato's Atlantis. Plato, through the character Critias in his dialogues, described Atlantis as an island larger than Libya and Asia Minor put together, located in the Atlantic just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, generally assumed to mean the Straits of Gibraltar. Alright, so that's that. Alright, now we're talking about the Tamil civilization, another lost continent, right? The name of the lost lands in Kamira Kingdom, at the time of those inundations, they were home to the high Tamil civilization that hosted the first and second Tamil Sangams, or academias of advanced learning. Alright, academias of advanced learning. Alright, so, there you go. There goes another one. There's supposedly an advanced civilization. Poof, going right off the map, right? Thule is the island of Thule. In classic sources, in classic sources a place, usually an island. Ancient European descriptions and maps locate either in the far north, often northern Britain or Scandinavia, or west and north, often Iceland or Greenland. Ultimia Thule in medieval geographies may also donate any distant place located beyond the borders of the known world. Okay, so that's Thule. Here's a picture of it. Alright, so let's go forward. All cultures may have believed that the map they valorize is real and true and objective and transparent. What we're talking about here, he's describing that many of these map makers are not telling the truth. Alright, for what reasons they're doing it, that's a whole nother debate, but the maps are not accurate. Okay, I think most geologists will agree on that. They're not entirely accurate. Alright. Granton, a professor of Renaissance studies at Queen Mary University of London, told me, all maps are always subjective. Even today's online geospatial applications on all your mobile devices and tablets, be produced by Google or Apple or whoever, are still to some extent subjective maps. Alright? So even though we got satellites in space, supposedly, we can't get the maps right. Alright, now, here's a map of the flat Earth. Now, these are the continents that you're looking at. In fact, let's go back here. Let's get a better picture of the map. Alright, so here's one right here. And this is obviously the ice ring going around. These are the continents. Now, I'm going to ask you, for the people out there listening to this, do you think that the land that you see here is all that exists? Think about that. There's more to it. The Creator created much more. The Creator has created much more land than this. A vast plain. Okay? With God knows how many suns. Alright? There's more land. There's more land beyond this ice ring. Probably once you get 2,000 miles out. See, they don't really care about little old me, because they know I'll never be able to cross it, because it's just too cold. But they're worried about a nation, such as, maybe Brazil or Cuba, some nation, getting a bunch of airplanes and trying to fly across. That's what they're worried about, and that's what the UN treaty is all about. Okay? They keep people from passing this border. This perimeter right here. We're just in a zone. There's probably other zones. So what they did was they gave us a ball and told us that this is our area and this is where we can live. Just like ants in an ant farm. They're given their area and that's it. You can't go out. And so how do we really know if there's more land? See, because every time you look at photos of Antarctica, you don't see any borders. So if we live in an enclosed system or a flat Earth with edges on it, how come there's no photographs of it? Anytime you see photographs of Antarctica, it just keeps going on and on and on. Alright? So, that is something that I think it's the most important thing, because if there's a so-called utopia on the other side of this ice wall, then we need to go there, okay? Because for whatever reason, they don't want us getting out. So we're in some sort of death trap, all right? We need to find out, all right? So, you know, Math Borland has it right, man. And I don't care what anybody else out there says they have a problem with it. I think there's more land, and they're hiding it. This is not all that there is. This is all that you see. There's more land in this. The Creator has, if he could create billions and trillions of planets out there, if you think the Earth is round, then he can create a plane with much more land. And in fact, I would imagine him doing so because you would create enough space that can accommodate a whole lot of people. Now, there's a lot of space here, but it's all owned by the federal government, owned by different wealthy corporations. So there's really not that much land available. You can't really stand anywhere without somebody coming along and say they own that piece of property. I mean, I own property, okay? So, but I'm just saying what it is. So there's more land beyond this ice ring right here. This is what I'm saying. There's more of it. All right, so we're here. Check it out. That's where I'm going. I actually got my wristband on. See? So I'm going up to the lighthouse because apparently the lighthouse is a big thing with the flat earth. You know, they always wondered how the sailors were able to see the light from that distance. And I brought a little trusty handheld telescope up there. We're going to do a little bit of research, and that way, actually going out of town is, well, it's in town, but going out of this area is where they have the old maps. So we're going to take a look at some old maps and see what we can find, what we can dig up on this fact-finding research. Because I don't always, you know, the internet is good, but you also want to actually go out and do the field research. Because you never know what you're going to find. A lot of stuff just doesn't get on the internet. So, yep, let's do it. All right, now we're going through, looks like a little safari area. And we're going up to the lighthouse. Apparently, I don't know how high it is. I have to ask one of the tour guides. But here we have some interesting stuff here. See, what we got to do is connect the dots with all of this. All right. So let's go on up to this lighthouse. Let's see how far we can see. See if we can see boats 50 miles out. This thing's really high. All right. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but it really is. All right. So we're gonna go up to this thing. We're gonna go up and in, up and in and up. Okay. This is Old Town. A lot of stuff remained intact. So let's go.
Wow, I feel like we're going back in time. It's crazy. I got a nice little breeze in here, though. I'm sorry. Yeah. I gotta watch my step. I don't want to fall. Good morning. God, I see why people run this in the morning. Get their exercise. Wow. All right. What do we got here? See any old stuff here? Medical pen. All right. Not much to see there. We'll keep going. Good Lord. I don't think I can ever run this thing. Plus the steps are a little bit crazy. Alright. Well, I'm not even at the top yet. And I'm already sweating. And it's weird because I'm in great shape. Well, I'm in decent shape. But I don't know, something about this thing makes me a little nervous. I mean, I'm not afraid of heights, but I can't drop my phone. If I do, there's no way it's gonna survive. Look. Yeah, it ain't surviving. Careful. I'm so afraid of heights. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna sit here and wait. Uh-oh, some king. really close to the roller coaster don't strap in. This makes you a little bit nervous. See how far we're... Holy smokes. Nice. Let's get up. Let's go further up. Okay. I'm really sweating. Really? I hope so. Jesus. I gotta finish it, don't you? Oh, God. I was never gonna stand this. Look at that. I don't know if that's good. That has to be way more than 50 miles. Has to be. And I'm gonna Google Earth how far that bridge is. Anyway, let me get up. Hey guys, good morning. God, you guys are pretty heights. Okay, I'm fighting it. Okay, nice. Scoop this way, sorry. Alright, so, there it goes. Nice and flat. Okay. Yep. Beautiful. So look at the top. Okay.
Alright, now let me see how far I can actually see. Take my shades off. Alright, look through my trusty telescope. And it looks kind of blurry. Wow, I'm really high up, and wow, wow. I don't know how long I can stay up here. I'm getting nervous, but yeah. And you see, that has to be at least 60 miles. I'm gonna ask the tour guy. Hey, quick question. How far can you actually see?
This light at night, right today, 21, 22 miles.
22 miles?
Yep, but weather's a
Wow.
factor. Weather's a factor there.
Weather's a fact. Oh, so if it's smoggy.
Wait, we're on the East Coast. We're not in California. You'll have fog, and that's just a mist, or a really overcast night. But
Wow.
Clear night, 21, 22 miles.
Wow.
You ever see that advertisement with the candle?
No.
You never seen it? I don't know how far it is. It's like 20 miles or something. You can see in the advertisement. You see this light way, way far away, and it's a candle.
Wow. That is
You're
amazing.
pretty good, but you just don't know.
Depends on how high you are.
Yeah.
Curvature of the Earth coming in.
Wow.
They did it many times today.
Alright, so yeah, 22 miles out. Can you believe that? Or 21, 22, he said, depending on the weather. So, go figure, right? And I mean, I'm looking through this telescope here. I can see really, really good. Okay. There's no lights out there, but, you know, it's really amazing. Wow. Look at that. Look at the clouds.
I generally
See
do
how it just goes like that?
I only do it twice.
Wow. It's a beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely. You get a great perspective of where we are. St. Augustine, you know, and you can almost close your eyes and visualize 450 years ago what it was like for the Spanish to come here to the New World. All unknown and different. And put your foot on the ground saying, I have no idea what's there.
How long has this been built? Since
1874.
1874. Wow.
140 years.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is beautiful. So when the boats are coming in, they would see the light.
Right. Think of a lighthouse, not so much that it tells you there's a hole in the ground right there or the big rock. Think of a lighthouse as a big sign that tells you where you are.
Okay, like a beacon.
Yep. It would tell them two things. One, Port St. Augustine, or 32 degrees, 17 minutes latitude. So they can position their up and down the East Coast.
Sorry guys, I wish I could have stayed up and recorded a little longer, but the hype was kind of getting to me. I mean, just walking down these steps is kind of freaking me out. Yeah. We got almost there. Yep. Alright, so he says 18, don't listen to that. He says the boat can see it over 20 miles out. There's no curve there. So that's pretty interesting. Alright, so we're almost going down now. And I'm sweating. Right? But people run this. I don't know how. I mean, I guess it's great exercise. I just can't do it. Because of the height. Alright. Back to the ground level. Back to the ground level.
Alright. Head out to the other place to do some research.
Sorry. All right, I'm out of here. It's kind of hot in there, but that's all right. Okay, so we're gonna go around to go to take a look. Some really interesting stuff. Not all of Antarctica is frozen over. This is Graham Hancock explaining that Antarctica was not always frozen. In fact, much of Antarctica is still warm. Possibly there's a route to other colonies, other geothermal pockets.
So we find good map projections which require advanced mathematics and good relative longitudes. Interestingly enough, there's a category of ancient map which also shows these modern features and which doesn't fit with the received view of the development of human history. One of the most famous of these maps is the Piri-Reis map. And I'm showing it here because I want to compare the projection of this map with the projection here centered on Cairo. Notice the west coast of Africa and the east coast of South America, and coming down here to the Antarctic Peninsula, tonguing up towards the south of South America. It's that precise projection that we find on this 1513 map. Again, there's the west coast of Africa, the east coast of South America. And coming down here, we find a representation of the northern Antarctic Peninsula. In 1513, when Piri-Reis drew the map, Antarctica had not been discovered. In fact, it wasn't discovered until 1818 by our civilization. So there immediately is one anomaly on this map. And another anomaly is the mathematics used in the map projection, which Piri-Reis told us went back in some cases to before the time of Christ and had come from the long-lost library of Alexandria in Egypt. Another strange thing about the appearance of Antarctica on this map, it's been studied by US Air Force cartographers, and their view is that what we're actually seeing there is the subglacial topography of Antarctica. Antarctica as it looks underneath the ice that now covers it. And this raises the question, how long has Antarctica been covered with the 2-mile thick ice cap that we now presently see on it? Such questions would be irrelevant if there were no other maps in this category. If the Piri-Reis map stood alone, the most sensible thing to do would be to dismiss it as a coincidence. But it doesn't stand alone. There's hundreds of other maps that incorporate this same information at a time when our civilization had not yet acquired that information. This is the Mercator map. Mercator is rather famous for his Mercator projection that still dominates most atlases today. It's a 16th century map, and it shows Antarctica 300 years before Antarctica was discovered. And again, it's based on earlier source maps, and again, it incorporates accurate relative longitudes. So also the Orontius Phineas map that we're looking at here, another 16th century map. Mercator includes it in one of his atlases. And here we see Antarctica looking a little bit different, with mountains clearly visible along the coast and rivers running down from those mountains in places where great glaciers are known to run today. It looks on this map as though Antarctica is partially deglaciated. The center of the continent appears to be featureless and ice-covered, but the coast is showing these unglaciated features. What might that mean? This is a map by Philippe Bouache, an 18th century geographer, still a good 100 years before the discovery of Antarctica. And it shows the continent as a kind of archipelago, 2 major land masses divided by a clear waterway running between them. I wonder where he got that idea from. There's a redrawing of the Mercator map and the Orontius Phineas map and the Bouache map. And here to the right, based on seismic surveys conducted in International Geophysical Year in 1958, is a view of what Antarctica actually looks like underneath all that ice that now covers it. We're looking at the subglacial landscape of Antarctica here. And while I wouldn't claim for a moment that the Bouache map is a perfectly accurate representation of the subglacial topography of Antarctica, I think it's much too close to the reality to be dismissed entirely. I think that much more research needs to be done into these anomalous early maps and into the source maps that they rely upon for their information, because we just may be looking at the faint fingerprints of a lost civilization, of a navigating, seafaring civilization. Most scholars would say that it has been covered with ice in the form that we see it today for several millions of years. But there is some contradictory evidence, deep-sea cores which bring up soils from the ocean bed, which suggest that rivers carrying fine-grained sediments were indeed running down off the coastline of Antarctica. Complete explanation for why the last ice age came so suddenly and dramatically to an end has ever been offered by orthodox
people off on a journey across the ice. Okay, now I don't know about you, but I've seen photographs being leaked out lately of so-called Antarctica, of terrain I've never seen before.
why you're doing what you're doing in Antarctica.
Thank you for having me. We are around 200 miles from the South Pole right now, which is about minus 40 degrees. And we're really out here to do two things. First of all, to conduct research to try to contribute to better understanding our climate system. And second of all, to sort of change the way that we talk about climate change and to change the way we communicate climate change.
You and your teammate are trying to basically set a coast-to-pole record, meaning get from the coast of Antarctica to the pole in record time. Your target's 22 days. You got to average around 18 miles a day on skis. Are you on track?
It's a difficult question. We've just passed a really difficult part of the expedition, which is the Levery Glacier. 7,000 vertical feet in rise. We did that in about 3 days. And we'll probably be... Actually, we still do it.
Parker, setting a record would be quite a feat, but what do you hope to get out of this expedition academically?
We're doing a couple of different programs. The first is a test of a new lightweight weather station. Second is the second and third are really using various proxies in the different annual layers of Antarctic snow to better understand how the global water cycle works.
You've done 3 trips to the North Pole since you turned 15. You study geology, geophysics at Yale. All very impressive, but my question to you is more basic. What does minus 40 feel like right now?
It feels like you just want to move around, and what it really feels like is it's just raw, you know. It's not something you ever get used to.
And until we can assess what we actually live on, until we can go as far as we can go. I mean, if we send people off on a journey across the ice, okay, now I don't know about you, but I've seen photographs being leaked out lately of so-called Antarctica, of terrain I've never seen before. Outside of the perimeter of the ice circle, there could be ponds in every one of those directions. Or there could be a bunch of ponds in only one of those directions, and all the rest of it just goes to the ice forever. So I don't know, and nobody else does either, except for those who may have, in the last 50 years, been on multiple excursions in all of these directions, and that's why we can't go there, because it is not in our best interest to go there. Or they could come up with some cockamamie story, or it could be a true story. I have no idea. Other ponds out there with creatures that are detrimental to us, you know, could kill us, hurt us, poison us, eat our heads off. So the militarization thing kind of leads me in one of those two directions, that they're either thinking they're protecting us from something, or they're protecting something from us. They want to be able to go there, and they don't want us to go there, because it could be Eden or paradise or resources abound or something, and they're saving it for the so-called elites. They want to be able to go there, and they don't want us to go there, because it could be Eden or paradise or resources abound or something, and they're saving it for the so-called elites.
All right. So what you're looking at here is the plane. Okay, you're seeing all the continents. You're seeing the sun right there, and these are the ice mountains that are in Antarctica. And what we're looking at here is now, if you look, there's more land beyond the ice plain. Once you cross it, if you get yourself a snowcat or something like that, you'll be able to cross it. And hold on, let me turn this down. You'll be able to cross it, and which may have another sun. Now, this sun, if it comes too far out of its geothermal pocket, you'll see people in our Antarctica will see it. Okay, they'll get a glimpse of it, and this is what's essentially happening. But this land, which we could call Atlantis or Elysium or whatever you want to call it, this new land, these hidden continents are resource rich. What Admiral Byrd was saying. There's millions. It's enough to make everyone super wealthy on the planet. Okay, on the plane. So, I mean, people think they're wealthy now. Could you imagine the world you would be living in, a Garden of Eden type of environment? Okay, so this is what's beyond the ice ring, beyond Antarctica. It's more land. All right, guys. So you guys got to keep that in mind. All right, we need to cross it. It may be 2,000 miles. It may be a couple hundred miles, but it's close enough where they have to keep guard of it without bringing too much attention to it. So it has to be to the point where they're a little bit afraid of I'm sure they're afraid a plane could get across it. So we just need to show them we're responsible and we're peaceful enough to go across and look at these these extra continents that are hidden. And also, I also want to say that I'm not associated with any hate, racism, hate group, or anything like that. In fact, I speak out against it. But as far as being for it, no, I have all types of friends: Jewish friends, white friends, Asian friends, so-called white, so-called Asian, because we're all just one people anyway. But anyway, these continents, once you cross the ice, you're going to run into more water, and then you're going to run into more land. And this is what they're hiding. All right, guys?
Well, I think that their funding is getting cut down, and so that's why their pictures are getting worse and their videos are getting worse, and they're just running out of shit. So they're starting to do stuff like say that aliens are on Comet Philae. Come back to the sphere. We got aliens.
Don't wake the sleeping astronauts. Alright, so these are the astronauts from the Challenger: Michael J. Smith, Ronald McNair, Judith Resnick, and I forgot the other ones. And they supposedly blew up. See? It's on the television, so it gotta be real. Everything intact. Everything destroyed but the flag. Are supposedly died in the shuttle Challenger. Okay. Now, do you recognize their faces? This is Michael J. Smith. This is Ronald McNair. This is Judith Resnick. Now, what happened if I told you they're still alive?
I don't know.
Would it confuse you a little?
A little, yeah.
Okay. And these get their GPS feed. These, the big ones like this, the radio, they get GPS feeds in. Okay. This is something I went in. And I know these do not count for the Earth, for the different latitudes. I know that. Okay, because I watched them turn it on, I watched them put it together, set it up. Besides, each planet is revolving at different rates of speed. Each planet moves at a different rate of speed. They never punched it in. I watched them set it up. Alright? So, yeah, it's the combining of 10 years of NASA Hubble Space Telescope photographs. So that's what you're looking at here. Right? This image was created from over 2,000 separate exposures captured by the Hubble Space Telescope. So basically they're telling you it's a composite. Right? Composite. This is an interesting sequence. So they go from Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour. Okay? This is where they're hiding. Atlantis. Look at this crap. The brainwashing is so... Now, how come you can't take a trip from here? Let's see, get a better picture there. Or let's say, okay, so let's say this is Australia.
They don't understand the implications of the flat Earth. If everybody knew the Earth was flat, then we wouldn't trust the government, we wouldn't trust the church, we wouldn't trust the establishment that's telling us the Earth is a ball. And it basically, globalism is slavery. So if you're stuck on this ball, you're paying taxes, you're paying rent to live, just to live. And you got to realize that we're all free if we think the Earth is flat, because we don't have boundaries. We really don't. It's all just mental. And if we can go to Antarctica and go beyond the ice wall and see what's going on over there, and maybe there is other land, and what if we can go there? What if it's a utopia? What if it's, I don't know, what if it's Nazi fascism? Who cares? I just want to see it.
A direct path to a location is straight. Why does it have to curve? That's because we're going to another location, probably in Antarctica, hiding the spaceship, hiding the shuttle, so no one else can see it. A direct path to a location is straight. Why does it have to curve? That's because we're going to another location, probably in Antarctica, hiding the spaceship, hiding the shuttle, so no one else can see it.
Unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. It happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources. And, you know, as the world shrinks with an ever-increasing acceleration, the bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration.
I've heard it said that there are 7 continents in the world, and one of them has never been seen by a woman, and that's Antarctica. Is that actually true?
Well, if the Peloponnese is an island, as far as I know, that's true. No woman's ever stepped foot upon the Antarctic continent, and it's the most peaceful place in the world.
Well, Admiral, you speak of the resources of Antarctica. What are they? What are the natural resources there?
Well, we've found enough of coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow. It was once tropical. So we think there's oil.
Bert, may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the South is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000, and it's a little bit chilly up there. So there's that big difference between the top and bottom of the world. The North really isn't very cold up there on the Arctic Ocean. The British told me that when I first went down in 28, that I couldn't possibly get through the winter night without a mutiny if I took more than 20 men. But to serve science, I had to take 42 men. Then I took 56 the next time, and so on. So, and I did find that loyalty was the most important thing during the winter night when it's very hard on your nerves. I think that's straight.
Well, that's a very valuable characteristic at any time. Well, thank you very much, Admiral Byrd. It's been a great pleasure to have you.
So let's imagine for a second that this is your world, okay? You got some water here. You're right here. About 534, this is your residence, and this is all you know. You were born in that world, okay? That's all you know. That's all you ever been told. You don't know any different, all right? Somebody gave you a map. Hold on, let me hold the camera steady. Someone gave you a map of this, and this is all you ever saw. When you went to school as a child, this is all that you knew. And they told you there was ice around the outside, okay? Around the outside. And that's what you thought. Now, this is a map, obviously. And let's say there was ice around. But then as you pan out a little bit, you'll notice there's another patch with another ice in it, with more ice surrounding it, okay? You don't know that for certain. And they told you that there's a glass going around that's impenetrable, that you can't get past. They never photograph it. They got planes flying all around this icy area. No photographs of this ice, this glass wall. But this is what they told you. And then you pan out a little bit and you see both. But then, when you move it, there's much more land. Okay? You see that? That's how this thing works. Now, they told you that God, the Creator, his power is very limited. So he only gave you 7 continents because, hell, it's unimaginable for this supreme being to create more land. Now, that's not atheistic because the earth is still flat. It's not atheistic. It just simply means the Creator has a bigger imagination than you think. That's all. It still proves there's a Creator because the earth is still flat. Now, there may be a dome. There may be a glass dome. But the glass dome may extend all the way to the outer edges. And it must be much more. See, this is what I'm telling you guys. We gotta be more scientific and less emotional and so dogmatic that we cannot visualize a different type of world. We cannot get into that kind of mind, because that's how the hell we got in this situation in the first place. See, if you were born in a prison and this prison had no windows and you were in your cell was your home, and they would let you out of the prison cell to go play in the yard, to go eat, you got a job to mop the floor, and the warden will come down, and out of 100 prisoners, he may grab one prisoner and say, I'm going to give you more benefits than the other cellmates. And that one prisoner says, oh, yeah, great. So that one prisoner may get access to the weight room. He may have a little bit more access than the other cellmates. But that one prisoner who has more benefits, it's still in a prison. So many people who have the nice things does not mean they're not under control. We have to start thinking critically. And what I mean critically is criticize what you're thinking. I have no problem with there being a dome, but let's go find out. Let's go find out. All right? Because there may be another pocket, okay, with another sun. We can't assume that there's only one sun simply because we see it. I mean, doesn't that sound a little bit like sun worship? There's only one sun. There can only be one sun. It can't be another one. There can only be one moon. So we had to create planets because we can't have several moons, which we clearly see at night. So we're going to just make this ice, which could be 2,000 miles or it could be a few hundred miles. You don't know. So I'm saying let's get some proof. Let's get some evidence that, hey, there may be another pocket that all we have to do is go to a certain point and we'll run into some more water. And of course we would need a boat. So go sign the petition because we're going to, hey, where are you, cat? Come here, buddy. We're going to need to bring more attention to this thing. All right? Here, what it appears is that sometimes we hear that Antarctica has weeks where the sun doesn't set. Okay, well, we know that's impossible on a flat Earth. So possibly, maybe the sun, what this guy's looking at, he thinks the Earth is rotating. So in reality, he's looking at the other sun. I don't know, just an idea, but think about that. It says, on Antarctica's coast where our stations are located, there are usually a couple of weeks in midwinter around June 21st when the sun does not rise. And a couple of weeks in the summer around Christmas when there's 24 hours of sunlight. Okay, so maybe he's looking at not our sun, but a second sun, because it would be impossible if you're on a ring for it to be 24 hours of sunlight. Okay, so I know this has been thoroughly debunked, but that's another idea, all right? Now, what we're going to need to cross this, let's get this. I hate these pop-ups, God. Well, anyways, this is a snow crawler made in the inspired in the 1930s. This might be what we need to actually go past crossing Antarctica, all right? So, you know, think about it. You never know. Okay? I think this is what they're using. Now, I do want to say that I am speculating on a lot of things here, but these are good estimations, all right? Or guesstimations. These are they're reports of missing land, okay? And we know there's extra continents out there. At least I speculate that. And I'm willing to bet my life on it. I'm willing to travel across in the cold, okay, where you're not going to have any sunlight, and I'm almost sure you'll run into more land. But this is a snow crawler that Matt Boylan was talking about, where you link them up. You get one, you link them up, alright? So, I'm going to deal with this in another video because it's kind of lengthy, so I just want to get to what I was going to discuss here, which is, right here. Let's read here, because this is Nibiru, which is supposedly this second sun. Now, you know, the hollow earth people, the baller, globe earth, round earth guys, you know, they all know about this, but they don't really understand it, at least in my opinion. The Mawson station, an Australian base on the Pacific side of Antarctica, has a cam that shows part of the sun arc from the time the sun is already in the sky until it sets. But something else appears below the sun, a second sun which appears in the right of and below the sun, setting before the sun sets itself. Okay, so here goes the second sun. It's already daytime. It's setting, and then here's the real sun. Alright, so you guys could check this out. Before it was news. So a lot of the cameras, is more than one. There's been several cameras in Antarctica at these stations where it shows that there was a second light source. Okay, so let's take a look here. Now we're watching this. Now see, the sun is over here, so there's light, some light over here, and this is by Tony Gilbert. So keep watching. There goes the second sun. Boom, right here. All right. So, and it's moving. So I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I mean, this is really, when they got camera footage, I don't believe all of the camera footage, but this is pretty interesting. That is from more than one source. Multiple people have said they've seen it. Alright? Alright, let's go to the next one. Here goes the webcam from Germany and Germany station Antarctica. Now keep watching. Keep watching. Watch the frame 116. Alright? Now you're going to see it here in about a second. Some activity going on. So we already have a sun, right? Which is behind us. Alright, keep watching. And then what the hell is that? What is that? Okay. So yeah, that's kind of strange. Alright, now let's look here. Islands that do not exist or appear on any map. So what this is talking about, Hollywood movies that always kind of hint at there being more land. Maybe Hollywood is telling us something. Right? So we got Atlantis, which is Greek, supposedly mythology. The mythical Atlantis was described by Plato in Timaeus and Critias dialogues, and since then has fascinated generations in fame has not stopped growing. Alright, so now we know about Jurassic Park, Nublar, and Shutter Island, and Monkey Island, and Lunyu. Alright, with all these weird, funny names. Alright, so kind of hinting at it in Hollywood, right? Alright, so now what I want everyone to do is sign the petition. Sign this petition, okay, for independent researchers and geologists. Okay, we can go out there, and this is an article under Article 8. We're going to modify it. We don't want to get rid of the Antarctica Treaty, but we want to go to the UN and bring this on the world stage and tell them to modify that article and modify the Antarctica Treaty. Alright? Because we have the right to go down there and find out. So I need everyone to go and sign this. This is on change.org. Okay, just search it up. Mike Stars. Go find it and sign it. Alright, thanks guys. Alright, so we're at the USGS, the Antarctica Atlas, and this here you can go, you could do some good research. Here, you go to their photo index, and they got a whole bunch of photos and stuff. You guys can go do some research on this, but this shows you the treaty nations that are involved, which are all of these guys. They hate each other, but somehow they get along when it comes to Antarctica. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at some photos of Antarctica on Google. And here, we don't see a dome. You don't see anything that somewhere that's prohibiting from going any further. The only thing you do see is these laws that are preventing you from going. I mean, if it's nothing but a barren ice cap and there's nobody there, then why are there so many laws prohibiting people from going under this global warming crap? Okay, so I don't see any, this is a panorama. I don't see any glass dome. Now, while some of these photos may be real, some of them may be computer animated, it still goes to show there's nothing showing a dome anywhere. I mean, I'm not against the dome, I'm just saying I have to see one. I have to see a glass perimeter, and I haven't seen that. Alright, so now we're going to look at Jeffrey. Jeffrey Donenfeld, he has some good footage. He works out in Antarctica, and let's take a look at what he sees out the window. So he's about to look out, see what he sees. Wait, look! It just keeps going. There's no perimeter. Let's skip forward a little bit. There's no perimeter. I don't see a perimeter anywhere. Alright?
Has both wheels and skis.
No perimeter. Nothing.
Skis and the wheels.
Alright? So, again, now he's in an airplane. Right? Nothing. It just keeps going. So you could probably run into something. Now, let's look at this here. This is by Daily Mail. While every world map you're looking at is wrong, Africa, China, India are distorted despite access to accurate satellite data. The Mercator projection, the map mostly commonly seen hanging in classrooms and in textbooks, was created in 1596 to help sailors navigate the world. The familiar map gives the right shapes of the land masses, but at the cost of distorting their size in favor of the wealthy lands to the north. So every map has a somewhat seen that Africa, this is supposedly the real Africa, and this is Africa shrunk down. Okay, so the map makers aren't really telling you the truth, right? Now we could look here. It says, just like a photographer or painter, the map maker turns into a messenger bringing back data from above to the people on the ground. It is not meaningless, and is certainly never purely objective. So here you can see all sorts of, throughout history, people creating maps. The second map is using a similar projection as a cartogram one, which makes the size of the countries proportional to their oil annual production. So many of the cartographers manipulate the map in order to highlight a specific thing in that specific so-called country. Okay? Now we're going to take a look at some old maps. So let's see what we can dig up here. I know there's plenty of good stuff in here to look at. Just gotta find it. Sometimes it's all about finding research and finding, but I'm gonna see if I can find a flat earth map. Alright, let's see what we get. So this is the ancient Atlantic, okay? And here this book primarily focuses on Atlantis, okay? And it says,
in tracing the authenticity of Atlantis legend, we must not fail to mention Homer. He probably had not seen the books of Egypt, but he had heard of the historical chants whereby many peoples handed down the stories of the past. Okay? And it goes on and on and on. It says, Homer also wrote about the strange city upon an island. Okay? Upon an island. And we'll go further. All right, so they're talking about Atlantis, all right? So let's read here. Let us keep in mind that every name Atlantic is neither an Aryan nor a Semitic word, nor is it found in any of the languages of Europe or Asia. Yet in most of the languages of eastern tribes of the Americans, Alt is water. The K sound always stands for people. In most American Indian tongues, which would make Atlantic mean the people of the sea. Antis often means either eastern or copper, which could make Atlantis the eastern copper land. Okay? Coincidence? Perhaps. We know of the Atlas range that bends around the shoulder of Africa and the older Mediterranean god Atlas, who balanced the earth on his shoulders, shaking it with earthquakes every time he shifted his position. Okay, so we know about Atlas, we know about Plato, okay? One wishes devoutly that Plato or perhaps Solon had been more carefully about original names. However, it was custom of the day for both in Greece and Egypt to find the other meaning and then translate them. Perhaps Atlas had no meaning for them, nor did Atlantis, nor did Atlantic Ocean. Now as Atlantis a legend, blah, 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 and it's going all the way down, okay? And talking about the Egyptians, okay? So they knew Atlantis existed. The Egyptians knew that, okay? They went over there, all right? This is a great book to, did history open with astronomical knowledge in the compass? Well, the compass is really old. We know that. That's no new invention. But, and here they're talking about Stonehenge and blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that later. But the Ancient Atlantic, read this book. Really old book, but really okay. So what we're looking at here is land, flora, and fauna. The harsh combination of rapidly changing temperature, strong drying winds, irregular water, and nutrient supply, frequently snowfalls and frost, and continual soil movement due to the freezing and thawing means that only a few plants and invertebrates can survive on the ice-free land, amounting to only 2% of the continent of Antarctica. So there's life in Antarctica, okay? Let's not get it confused. There's definitely life in Antarctica. There's plant life.
Microorganisms. But here, they call this an optical phenomenon, right? Now this is the book of Antarctica, okay? Now what we're gonna read here. When the air over the polar ice cap is filled with ice crystals, either composed as clouds or simple suspended in the air, the light of the sun and the moon is reflected, refracted, distracted, and scattered by the crystals. This produces what one writer has described as a, let's go up here, compendium of light geometry, a varied range of optical effects that have dazzled visitors to the continent. Okay, so let's read here. The exact effect of depending on the nature of the crystals in the atmosphere, their orientation to the source of light and the observer's viewpoint, some of the halos or mock suns or moons and sun's pillars are most dramatically seen in the sky. Mock suns. So they're saying that there's more than one sun. They're saying there's a fake sun there, supposedly. All right, which is probably the second sun. All right. I mean, how is this a mock sun? All right. So let's read further. It says, in the Arctic skies, halos from around the sun and moon shape the circles of arcs or spots known as mock or dog suns or moons. In daylight, the sun pillars, vertically streaks of the light can occur. Okay, this gets kind of extensive here, but let's see. You guys can pause that and read that if you like. But see, a mock sun, right? Mock sun, mock sun, mock sun, or it simply could be a second sun. This is the second sun. So if you're in Antarctica, they just tell you it's not there. It's a fake sun. It's a mock sun. It's makeup. It's bullshit is what they're telling you. Okay? So again, there's a lot of clues that indicate that there's a second sun. All right? The age of scientific discovery. We already know about these con artists. All right? This is Galileo, and they're already pushing the round Earth model before any satellites, before any pictures, before anything. And this is back in 1543 with Nicholas Copernicus. They had no proof back then. So somehow they're still pushing this garbage. Okay, so I'm going to read this and go over this. There's a lot to go over, but they've been hiding land from people for forever. We can see here, there's been territorial grabs, fights for land, hiding land. So who's to say they're not hiding more land, which I believe they are. It's a lot of. Now this is a hybrid craft that they tried to go into Antarctica with. Okay.
And here's all of it. Antarctica is so forbidden. In fact, in 1920, virtually nothing was known about it. For 100 years, the whalers in search of migration Libyans dared the ice pack when it opened in the spring. And venturesome sailors had charted the continent's fringes. Okay? 9/11, September 11th. These are some key numbers there. But pretty much nothing was known about it up until the 1920s. Okay? So again, they're hiding land. They're hiding land. This is what they're doing, guys. Sorry to tell you that. I was going to go to the museum where they had a bunch of ancient maps, but when I looked, the maps that they had, they didn't have any flat earth maps. So I'm still searching, all right? But again, there's a second sun. There's a second sun in Antarctica. I'm telling you guys, that's what it is. New York Times, this is showing Scott finds South Pole and perishes 4 men in the Arctic blizzard, bodies found after 8 months, okay? So I did a post on him already. This is some good stuff, and we're gonna go through this. And we're gonna go to New York Times, okay? So the reason why I like older books is because they allow you, it's hard, see on the internet, you can get shows to, on the internet, you can get shows to, cause fake pictures, create fake pictures, remove websites. Here, this stuff is old. It really hasn't been tampered with yet. So the good thing about doing research with the old stuff is that they hadn't had time to go in and start removing photos. Some of these photos were removed from NASA's website, but it's still here, as we can see. And, dinosaurs. We know dinosaurs can't be proven. Neanderthals can't be proven. All right, so looks like, all right, this book didn't really have too much when I went through it, just besides the fact that there is warm water in Antarctica. So there's this misconception that Antarctica's all ice. So if any of this is true, which we don't know, but this is the best we have to go by unless you're taking a trip there, that Antarctica has some warm climate, okay? But here you're seeing they're showing depictions of fights over the Antarctica. Let's see. This book is really interesting. If you haven't had a chance to tamper with any of this, okay? Really, really good stuff. Here, they're already pushing the ball Earth model. And here it says, a cartoon called The Two Young Giants depict the United States and Russia looking to expand commerce in Asia. So, right, so supposedly that's what that means. All right. We got to go back in time here. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
There's more land. That's what really matters, you know. Most people just trying to figure out. The debate is basically about debunking the globe. But once we get past that, what else is there? There's obviously more. And a lot of the debates go towards Antarctica. What is Antarctica, and what's the rim? And you know, we get to those. There's people that start talking about the firmament, the dome, and you know, but basically all of that is, you know, unprovable until we are given the opportunity to explore.
According to Chianetti, the Antarctic was a tropical paradise millions of years ago. And this 500-year-old map, which shows the continent's coastline in detail, is proof. Chianetti's frequent trips to the Andes have convinced him that these massive stone outcroppings are actually monuments, carved by Atlanteans who came here from the Antarctic. Look closely at these rock formations. Chianetti says one can easily make out images of animals, human faces, and in this case, a man lying on his back.
Well, if you look at the Vedic cosmology, if you look at the Norse cosmology, I mean, they talk about several planes. And this could be part of, like, other lands that we're talking about. I mean, the north might be a gateway to a different plane. Same thing with the south. It might be another gate. You know, there might be already colonies or other indigenous species over there, animals, plants, people. We don't know. And they might be segregated from us, and they don't know about us either. You know, they're just controlling all of this whole situation. So, I mean, if we are able to make contact with them or find out if there is a them, you know, we don't know. We need to keep spreading this knowledge, having people research this for themselves, because the more that know about it is going to make this whole system just basically heal to what the people want, because there's more of us than them, obviously.
So the goal is to get to Atlantis. If there's an Atlantis out there, which I think, because the evidence suggests it, there's more real estate. You get rid of the idea of territorial wars and genocide and the idea of scarcity. Tesla tried to give us free energy. Well, let's try to get free resources. It's not that we want anything for free, but we want to expand and explore and help everyone. Okay, so that's the goal. All right, so that's our mission statement. That's what we want to leave. If we can't do it in our lifetimes, we at least want to do it for the next generation or the generation after that. Okay, so we must start exploring and figuring out where we are. All right, so that's the whole goal, is to set up and get enough people to wake up to get an expedition going. We don't need a whole lot of people. We just need maybe 100, maybe less, maybe 50 people of men and women, scientists, military personnel, everyone, to go and start exploring. So that's what we need. We just want to modify the treaty. We don't want to eradicate it or get rid of it totally. Okay? This is Harriet Tubman, and this quote is really powerful. So let's read it. It says, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves." Okay? Basically, a lot of people are lost in the system. They're not waking up. You're not going to get them out of the system, this matrix that we live in. They're too caught in it. If it's not a globe, then there's a dome. You know, they're trapped in this prison and they don't want to go. And we can't get everybody. We just need to get enough where we can go. A lot of people are hopelessly lost in the system and will remain here. Okay, but I'm trying to get out of here, and I know you are too. So go purchase the book. It's on Amazon. It's called Beyond the Horizon by Mike Stars. If you just punch that in the search bar, it'll come up on paperback or Kindle. And you're not just giving me money. You're getting a really good book in return. But your money does go to helping this expedition and the experiments that we're setting up to try to go. Okay, so we can't always rely on NASA to give us all the information. A lot of it we have to do ourselves. All right, guys, go purchase the book, and I'll see you soon. Peace, one love.